What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now we need to begin this video with a giant question, which I feel like is something that lies very much at the core of Call of Duty in general, which is it possible for video games to go too far? Are they able to tell a story that's too graphic or show visuals that are too violent? And the reason I'm asking this is because this game, it definitely pushes the boundaries, but I don't think it does it in a way that's completely distasteful. But I do think I should probably warn you that some of the things you're going to see in this video are very, very abhorrent. There are things like complete war crimes, terrorism done in a very, very realistic manner, but all of it's in service of what I feel like is a grander message. This is very unique in that I feel like it is a video game that almost seems to be telling you that while war can be fun in this digital sense, in reality, it is a terrible thing that has absolutely no winners. So with that being said, let's start off by talking about the storyline itself. This time around, there's not really a clear storyline, but I think that's actually a huge benefit for it. Basically, we are playing as a series of characters that are each taking their own little part in this grander play between basically terrorists in the Middle East trying to combat for chemical weapons and evil Russians and people trying to essentially vie for power in these far-off lands. And what's really interesting is I feel like it manages to really make you question if you should continue playing. Like, let me give you an example because I feel like it sort of just kind of encapsulates what's going on here. At one point, there's a mission that starts off and you're cruising down the street and you're trying to search for some people who have managed to hijack some very, very dangerous weaponry, when suddenly you spot them driving down the street in the middle of a very crowded area in Britain. But before you manage to take this shot and stop them, the bomb detonates right there. This is the raw, uncut footage of it, and as you can see, I had no idea what to do. I couldn't figure out if I should run towards the fire and start trying to pull people out. I didn't know if I should run away because I might be breathing in chemicals, or I didn't know if I should just literally start running towards the nearest person with a gun and blasting them because they might be evil. This is something that is definitely kind of done again and again within the campaign, which I think really, really works. It definitely manages to sort of say, hey, this is not the thing that you want to do. These people have a job that is impossible. But something else about this that I think really helps it to manage to have this deeper meaning is that the campaign itself is relatively short. The entire single player can be finished in about 5 or 6 hours, and instead of this being a detriment, I think that it manages to make it where every single mission has a point. Every single mission has interesting gameplay elements that are completely unique. Like at one point there's this woman who has a key card and she's hiding in an embassy that's currently being attacked, and so by using the security cameras and a cell phone, you keep telling her bit by bit where to sneak, and if she's spotted, then unfortunately she dies. And it gives you a lot more times where you feel like you're out of control. It feels like things have just become so bad and so utterly lost you can't possibly win. It really manages to convey that this deep into the battlefield there isn't really heroes or villains. It seems like everybody is kind of a ruthless killer, it's just that we happen to be playing on one side while they're on the other. And maybe this isn't actually the point. I mean, one problem I definitely had with this game is that everybody is very, very monotone. Whether you're talking about the people who are holding the bombs or the people that are trying to defuse the bombs, everybody seems so chill and cool that at times it's a little bit difficult to tell if anybody is really being affected by all this carnage. It definitely makes it more difficult to try and see the morality of this if it seems like people are so unaffected. Like, here's a time where I'm really trying to sneak through this house and it's got a bunch of people that are trying to plan out a giant attack nearby, and as we break down the rooms of each door and try and shoot these people, they're definitely supposed to be bad guys and they're definitely doing bad things, but we're also shooting unarmed women sometimes, and nobody ever seems to be like emotionally affected by it. Our heroes are kind of like, alright, we got him, jump back in the helicopter and fly off to the next mission, which is probably just because this is a predominantly multiplayer game. Most people are probably never even going to see this story. So let's just fast forward to what you're probably curious about, which is how does this play when it comes to the online modes? Well, honestly, it's great. This is a very very fast multiplayer shooter. It manages to really have better maps, better weaponry, but it does have some things that are removed. If you played the last year's Call of Duty, you're definitely going to notice the fact that there is no longer any form of battle royale and there is no zombies. The only thing you have now is straight up deathmatch and the different modes, things like defusing bombs and capturing bases. Now, this isn't really a detriment. It seems like the primary theme of Call of Duty Modern Warfare is certainly a tightening of the grip. This is a game that doesn't have any sort of filler content. Each and every piece has a very purposeful point, and I think that this really manages to help. It makes it where, when I was playing this, I really felt like every match actually mattered because I could feel the wins. I could feel the leveling. I could feel like when I managed to go in there and defuse that big giant nuke, well, I was helping out my team in a way that was doing more than just scoring those cool points. This real sense of progression comes from two main aspects, which is that, first of all, this is a game with some very, very hardcore physical acceleration. Now, what I mean by that is, this is more than just running fast, this is more than just dying fast. I think it's that everything has been sped up. It feels like things have actually managed to become a lot more brutal, in a way that it seems like if you make a mistake, you're going to die. If you camp, there's still a chance that you're probably going to get hit by a freaking rocket launcher. But more than that, if you don't manage to stick with your party and think very strategically in every single round, you're just going to end up costing your team a lot of deaths. And I like that because it really makes it where when I'm doing good, it feels like I am on the right side. But more than that, there's definitely a sense of reward that I haven't felt in a Call of Duty in a very long time, which is that, so this is the upgrade system. As you're going along, you're able to get two different styles of experience points. Particular weapons can level up, and you have a general over level where just by doing random games you're going to get some form of experience points that unlocks more guns, more perks, more things like that for customizing the way you play. But I just love the way that you're able to really tinker with the mechanics of a particular weapon. Like, by far my very favorite gun was this. It's an LMG, a light machine gun, which is funny because this thing is basically a portable tank that I'm holding in my freaking grips. And as I played the game, I kept trying to tinker with things like adding a giant silencer on it, that way it would have a longer range, putting a grip and a butt on it, that way it'd be able to resist more recoil and have better accuracy, and even slapping a sniper scope on top, which transformed it from this thing that I could basically spray and pray with into a very fundamental long-range attack thing. And that to me is great, because it makes it where I really can customize how I want to behave on the battlefield. And I think that people are going to be finding new ways to play this game as time goes on, because there is just some really deep layers and layers and layers of figuring out how you want to play. Now, the last thing we need to talk about is co-op. This is very, very unique, but it's also only in certain modes. There's certain aspects of this, like special ops and stuff, that only exist on PlayStation 4. So I'm going to be talking about the general co-op mode. Honestly, it is very, very fun. Way more so than I even could have thought, because it's sort of just like, it's basically like single-player campaign missions cranked up on very hard difficulty. If you get struck by a bullet, you're going to be downed relatively quick. But the fun part is that since you're engaging with other players who are squatting up with you, it makes it where people behave the way you might expect. Like at one point, we're probably supposed to be sneaking into this warehouse district to kidnap this lady and try and take her safely out of the area, but since we're a bunch of players and not NPCs, we decided to hijack a vehicle, floor it straight in there, and start gunning people down before they could even react. It was hilarious and really, really exciting because win or lose, we're definitely still just in there getting our feet wet. It's really good that this game manages to be fast and fun and fluid, and more than anything, it feels like old school Call of Duty. Now, here's the part that I don't want to talk about, but we do need to address it. I can't rate this game. Normally at the end of my videos, especially my reviews and stuff, I like to say, well, we've heard some good and some bad, but let's over the ratings board and put a big number on it. But this time I can't, because Call of Duty for the last couple years has been doing something a little bit dirty, which is that they release the game, it's a big, very well-polished product, and then about 3 weeks after release, they end up just cramming it full of microtransactions and all sorts of pay-to-win mechanics. Like in the last game, they actually made it where you could directly buy guns that you'd use in the Battle Royale mode, which is unfortunate. So this time around, I just want to say this is fun. If you're a big fan of Call of Duty already, you should definitely pick this up. But just be aware that if you watch this in the future, there's a chance that the game may be completely broken or complete ripoff. But as it stands as day one, it is a blast. Okay, thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.